Nerds, we are talking about Star Wars Andor, episodes 1, 2, and 3. We're going to review the episodes and then get into a breakdown of the episodes. Starting now. Welcome to Nerd Social. I'm Nathan.
Hi, I'm Colin.
Hey, so we're coming to you a little bit later than planned tonight. Actually took a long time to actually get through those episodes today.
Mm,
So we're gonna try to review the first three episodes without spoiling anything, but I guess it all runs together like one movie. And then we'll get into a breakdown. But the spoiler free log line for the first one is Cassian Andor's reckless search for answers about his past makes him a wanted man. Episode 2 says Cassian attempts to lay low on Ferrix as agents
mm,
of the law close in. And 3 is Cassian's desperation to avoid arrest leads him to a mysterious man with unknown connections. So,
mm.
Colin, what do you think of these episodes?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of hype with with these three things, and I think that part of it did live up to the hype. Part of it was a little bit soft in terms of the first two episodes. There was a lot of setup in the first two episodes, but then the third episode was really, really good. I enjoyed the third episode. I think that it was really well done overall. I know that the person who wrote it is Tony Gilroy, who directed Rogue One,
Mm-hmm.
so there's some continuity there in terms of the character Cassian Andor, and just to kind of see, and we know what happened in Rogue One with him, so this is again a prequel of the story that happened. There's some nice new beats that are here and there that is very different from what you see in Star Wars. So they're trying some new things here and there, and it's far removed from a lot of the different Star Wars properties that we've been reviewing or we've been seeing on Disney Plus. So in that sense, it's really, really good. And I know that online they said that, oh, this, we're not doing any fan service or anything like that. I think it does really do that. There was only like hints, very small hints here and there, but I think it was very story driven overall and kind of building the characters up. And also, you're going to see as hopefully the episodes move along some of the characters that might become more prominent in the future. So overall, first two episodes, good setup. I think that it was still very, very engaging, entertaining. Third episode, I think, was probably the best one for me.
Okay. A little bit of a thing there. All right, so yeah, I like the episode as well. Or I like the episodes as well for the most part. I understand what you're saying about the first and second episode. They were a little slow. I think I would have had a different impression of things if they only had dropped the first episode. Um,
Yes.
it was a lot to get through one day, but I think all three episodes actually makes a complete story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Together. I mean, or at least a complete half of a story. There's like a definite ending in the third episode where his life is going to be different at the end of the third
Mm-hmm.
episode. Whereas if they had cut it at the end of the first episode, it would have been a weird and abrupt cut. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm glad we got the three episodes, even though it was a lot to get through. It was like 123 minutes altogether, to watch in one day. I really appreciate that the director, I think his name is Toby Haynes, um, is shooting in natural environments. I mean, and they built up a bunch of things. So like they're on a couple of planets that we haven't heard of before, within a system that we haven't heard of before. But like the first episode gave me vibes of um like cyberpunk vibes from like a Blade Runner I felt like I was like in a Blade Runner planet inside the Star Wars universe, and that was awesome. And then we got intercuts of like Cassian's childhood, and that sort of felt like a mix between Avatar and like Peter Pan a little bit. It's just like there was very lush like cinematography in all these episodes. I think that the actual planet of Ferrix, where a lot of the action actually happens, they built that entire town, and you can actually tell that it's not like in the volume, or it's not CGI. I think they built it in the middle of a quarry, and you definitely see the difference. I mean, the quality of the like individual scenes in these episodes are far better than anything that was in Obi-Wan, because they did a lot of that in the volume, just like they do a lot of the Mandalorian in the volume. It just, you can tell the difference. It also might be down to the cinematographer. Maybe the cinematographer could make certain things look not all the same, like because I know they use a very similar technology in like the Batman movie earlier this year, and you couldn't tell as much. But yeah, you can definitely tell that they're outside and they're in real environments, which I appreciate. I appreciate the effort that was put into this show. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, do you think that, one, before we get to spoilers, do you think that I'll be very curious to kind of see the comparison in terms of the budget for like Obi-Wan versus Andor.
I mean, you had to pay the actors as well.
That's true too, but I'm just talking about in terms of the sets, because I don't know which one is much more cost effective or anything. I'm just curious at those numbers to see like how much production value, or how much does it make a difference in terms of the visuals, because of the fact that they did real life sets here.
I don't know. So like maybe they decided to spend more money on it because of the script. Like Tony Gilroy, who is a movie writer, came and decided to write this show, whereas I don't know that that's the case for any of the other television shows. I think there's a bunch of like television writers who have done other things. So maybe it was a stipulation of him coming back that they would actually spend money. But it looks more expensive, and there's a lot more episodes. I think there's 12 episodes, right? So like,
yeah,
I don't know. You think that they'd spend some money on a show that has the words Obi-Wan on it, but and maybe they did, because like I said, I assume Ewan McGregor didn't work for free.
Right.
So maybe a lot of the budget went to him. But yeah, there's, I guess technically they're in the same universe, but the scenes just look so much more vibrant and luscious depending on where they are than it did in anything in Obi-Wan.
Right.
So yeah. Any other thoughts before we jump into the breakdown?
Yeah, let's just jump into the breakdown right now. I think that overall, I'm very thrilled that it's going to be more of a story, mm-hmm. and it's going to be more expanded. So yeah, very interesting to see what happens next.
Okay, well, so if you're enjoying the conversation, please like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. We're trying to create more content like this for you guys. We will be here tomorrow to talk about She-Hulk, and also on Friday to talk about the Rings of Power. So subscribe so you don't miss notifications about that. We'll also be dropping reviews of Star Trek Lower Decks and also Stargirl soon as well. All right, so spoilers ahead. All right, so technically have screenshots of like all 3 episodes, but like we'd be here for a very long time going through all the screenshots. So what I'm going to do is skip around. What do you want to talk about in these episodes. Also, as you said, some of this stuff is slow as well. It's kind of like trying to build atmosphere.
Right.
Like I said, the beginning of this is just, I mean, it's just beautiful. It looks like I said,
Yeah.
it looks like a scene out of like Blade Runner 2049, basically.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
except
And
for
yeah, they.
except for there's
Yeah.
aliens. Like you see aliens in these bubbles. This red light district bubble trying to tempt
Right.
him,
Right.
which is it was interesting. This show is also, so one of the things I forgot to say up top, but this show is also decidedly adult. I mean,
Yes.
there's a murder very early on in the beginning of this episode. So yeah, this is I think George Lucas's edict was that, you know, Star Wars is supposed to be for kids, but like he doesn't own it anymore, and I think all the other shows were like kids could probably watch them, but this one,
Yeah. This one definitely not.
although I mean they do cut away, but it definitely has like a more, it just seems
Hmm.
more adult. Um,
Right.
even though the murder wasn't like graphic or anything, it just seems more adult. Just the way that they're shooting it, um,
Hmm.
and the fact that, you know, our hero kills someone very early on in the beginning of this show. Although
Right.
I think I haven't seen Rogue One in a while, but like he does that in the movie too, right? He kills someone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
like
does.
one of his allies, so he
Yeah,
doesn't
he killed one
talk.
of his allies because yeah, in the beginning of Rogue One, and so we kind of already know that
He's willing to do
he's kind
that.
of, yeah,
Yeah,
he's going to do that. He's more of a grayer character than even Han Solo. I mean, Han Solo, I think for the most part we saw it in the original trilogy that he's, I mean, it's for laughs. I mean, the whole Han shoots first, that's for laughs. I mean, that's like that. Yes, it's violent. Yes, it's murder, but it's like, haha, you know. But this is definitely much more serious in tone. I was taken aback, but and then also later on we'll see in episode two that there's a definitely more. I think there's episode two. There was more of a serious tone, and when we get to it, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, the definitely Blade Runner, cyberpunk themes here, and also in the beginning they did something a little bit different where they established kind of the timeline,
yeah. It says
which is very
I
different,
forgot
which is experimental.
BBY 5 before Yabin, like, which is the,
Yep.
yeah, here it is right here. Also they established where we are. So we're in the Preox Morlana corporate zone. So this is Morlana.
Corporate zone.
This is Morlana one. So I think
Yeah.
what they're trying to establish here is that the Empire basically lets them manage this system, because I think Ferrix is also in the system technically, the system of planets. As long as they pay taxes to the Empire, they let them also manage their own security as well. So they have these goons that are running after him are just basically corporate security, and not stormtroopers, but like
Yeah.
their thuggery is enabled by the Empire. So
Right. Right.
yeah,
Right. So yeah, it's kind of like
this is a corporate town.
wanna be law enforcement in some ways. It's kind of
Yeah,
like a, yeah, yeah.
this is a corp.
That's what this lady was talking about right here. Like wannabes, you know, they're not really,
Yeah,
still very threatening, but you know.
yeah. They have wannabes or not. Like wannabes can be
Yeah.
kill people. Like I mean, uh, um, I guess we can get political really quickly.
Yes.
What's his name?
Rittenhouse.
What's his name?
Rittenhouse.
The guy who murdered Trayvon Martin. He was a wannabe that, but
Oh,
he was still, it was,
Zimmerman.
yeah, but he
Zimmerman.
was still dangerous. And these wannabes kill
Yeah,
people. They killed a couple. They killed
exactly.
people as well. So it doesn't really matter if they're these people aren't trained. Just as dangerous if they have weapons. So yeah, and they also seem to be corrupt, which also makes them dangerous. Which, you know, not that the police aren't corrupt as well, to get further political, but like, but yeah. it seems like they even have less accountability. So
Right.
yeah, so it doesn't seem like he, of course, meant to kill these guys, but like they try
Mm-hmm.
to shake him down because they're corrupt, and
Mm-hmm.
they miscalculate, and he gets the young one gets killed, and then this one he realizes too or quick he realizes too late that like if you say oh you killed him that he realizes way too late that he needed to like make it seem like he doesn't have to kill him, but he didn't. So
Mm-hmm. Right.
um yeah, so he shoots him point blank in the head, which is not something that I don't think any other hero has done in Star Wars. Even like you say, Han shot, but he didn't shoot him someone who was unarmed in the head.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a completely different
Yeah, there's
thing.
there's definitely a level of scoundrelness that is
No, it's not.
established here.
He's not a
Not scoundrel,
scoundrel.
but
He's not a scoundrel. He's going to be a spy, and spies sometimes have to
yeah,
do that kind of thing
right.
to cover their tracks. He's going to be a full on spy. So
Mm, yeah.
yeah, Destroyed is fun. They no, or almost regardless of the Star Wars iteration, they create a droid that has a interesting personality. It's like he's so old that it's like he's having issues like well he or it is so old that it's having issues like doing any like basic functionality like
Mm,
I
yeah.
think like he said I think later on he says that like I can lie, I just need I have the memory to lie, so it requires additional memory for him to lie. It's,
But
yeah.
it reminds actually, the structure of it the structure of the droid actually reminds me of a very old Disney film called The Black Hole. So they had two robots that were very similar to
Hmm.
this droid.
Yeah.
So similarity in personality, and similarity in terms of like the shape of it as well.
Yeah.
So,
Um. Yeah, but it's definitely glitching because it stutters.
yeah.
So um and it also seems that he so while his adoptive mom has moved Marva
Hmm.
has moved into the city, he seems to feel comfortable or more comfortable like sleeping on the ship. And this is the ship that they escaped in later on.
Hmm.
You see in the third episode, this is the ship that they escaped in, or the escape. I guess escaped on or rescued, or he was rescued on because I think if you remember from either episode one or sorry episode two or three, she mentions to her husband that
Hmm.
she wants to scoop him up because as soon as the Republic shows up, or sorry, the Separatists show
Right.
up, as soon as the Separatists show up, they're gonna wipe out all the kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, we get the flashbacks. This is what I meant by like Peter Pan. Uh,
Yeah.
it's not explained yet, but there's no adults around, and it looks like whatever environmental disaster that the corporation created on this planet killed all the adults, and only the
Mm,
kids survived. Um, so it's unclear how that happened or how they what the disaster was, but I think
yeah.
in the second episode you actually see the Earth hollowed out,
Yep.
and you also see the separatists who crash landed as soon as they were exposed to the atmosphere. Their like skin turned yellow, and they're on the ground. So
Hmm.
yeah, let's see, what else do we have? Yeah,
It is
so
very interesting that they kind of separated the two stories, and then they kind of melded it together at the
yeah,
very end of the episodes. So it's like we all talk about before the A story, the B story. So it's kind of like they did the B story as like his flashback, and then
hmm
the A story is like him like in the present day. So it's very interesting that they went with this type of dynamic.
yeah. I think this is far more effective. I mean, I don't want to keep like comparing it to other Star Wars things, but like other Star Wars things have done things similar to this very recently, and this is far more effective than what they did in Boba Fett. like,
Yeah.
you don't need to cut away and like create like a plot thing that, oh, he's having flashbacks because he's in the back to tank. It's just like people have flashbacks in shows all the time. It was unnecessary to only do that during the back to thing. But yeah, anyway, this is more effective. This is just storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, all these little details are very cool as well. Like all the workers seem to have their gloves hung up here.
Mm-hmm.
So when they start working, his friend, what's his friend's name? Brasso. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he seems to be a very good friend because he's basically saying lie for me, and Brasso's not didn't even skip a beat. He basically embellished his lie even more for him. It's like he notices you have a giant cut on your face. It's like you need to explain that too. So let me fill in even more here. He's a good
Yeah.
that's the kind of friend you need. He's a good friend.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he definitely has a lot of relationships with people on the planet, like just kind of sticking their necks out for him. And
yeah.
it's interesting to kind of see that I've already established instead of just explaining everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's already built already there. I mean, sometimes it's a good thing that's there. Some people call it lazy, but then we have to still move the plot along, right? So I think
Yeah.
it's good that we're able to kind of get a glimpse of those relationships that he has built already.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you make of this guy, Cyril? Cyril Kern.
You talk about the
He's
young guy or the
yeah.
old
This
guy?
guy. This no.
He
The young guy.
reminds
He's huh? Go ahead.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of oh man, from the boys. Who was it from the boys? Starlight's boyfriend. Oh, who was his name?
Oh, I have no idea. Like you're talking
I
about
totally
the one who spoilers for the boys that
from the
died.
boys.
The one who
Huh?
died. The one who died.
No, no, no. Starlight's boyfriend. Oh, what was his name? I'm totally blanking on it. But he reminds me of that kind of like he wants the power, but he doesn't really know how to get it, and he kind of is like a little bit of a weasel as well. Um,
I don't know. I feel like the guy Starlight's boyfriend is a little less of. I don't know. He's has more redeeming qualities. This guy is obviously like a try hard. He's like he's like tailored his own like uniform so he would so he would look more. I don't know. More official, more important than he
yeah,
actually is. He doesn't work for the Empire. He works for this random company that is under like a vassal of the Empire,
exactly.
but he assumes he feels like he's more important than he actually is. So
And then the old guy, he's just
he's
like,
taking
yeah,
this far. Yeah,
just brush it aside. It's not a big deal.
yeah.
We all scratch each other back. It's gonna happen, and he's kind of like trying to be righteous about the situation. I'm like, he's like you see it like it's very funny because it's kind of like a work dynamic where this younger individual, very ambitious, very righteous, very outgoing, and tries to do the right quote unquote right thing.
Yeah.
And then the old guy, he's kind of like all jaded and stuff. Yeah, this is just the way the nature thing.
Nah, but he also outlines a couple of things here, right? Like these guys obviously were trying to shake someone down. They chose the wrong guy, which is what he said. They were in a place the part of the zone that they shouldn't have been in because they couldn't technically under their salaries they couldn't afford to be there. That which means that they were corrupt and
Mhm.
they were spending money some of their ill-gotten gains in a part of the city that they couldn't afford. So there are all kinds of things that he sees as an older person that would have made that he laid out, and this guy is just he sees things in a very black and white way.
Yeah.
This guy is like a mall cop that takes his job way too seriously. He thinks that he's like yeah. um
I know what you mean.
yeah, I don't know. So anyway, So he tells him to squash it. He doesn't. As soon as he leaves, he basically disobeys
Yeah.
his orders. Um, this guy Tim, I guess he got what
Oh
he
yeah.
deserved later on. Bix is very interesting. I hope to see her again. Even though Cassian is leaving the planet, maybe she'll be part of the rebellion later on. I mean, they already greenlit season 2. So maybe we'll see her later on this season, or maybe we'll see her later on in the in the next season. I mean, if this is 5 BBY, they have technically 5 years, and they could do 5 seasons if they wanted to, depending on
Good.
how popular this show is. And it seems to be very well made. There's just a lot of things on television today or streaming today. I mean, all the stuff that I just listed doesn't even really cover it. I mean, there's like Handmaid's Tales and a bunch of other things that we're not even covering that people are watching. So I don't know if this even well made shows can get the attention that they need.
Sandman.
So
That's another one on Netflix.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
We
who
did
knows
review it.
if the Sandman is going to get a second season, another
Right.
really well written, well acted show. But I don't know how many people have actually seen it. I know it's very high on whatchamacallit on the Netflix list, but it's also very expensive to make.
Yeah.
So yeah, there.
Yeah.
You get
I thought that she was his sister, but I don't. Maybe it is.
no,
Maybe
no, no.
it's
She's
not.
not. No, she's
Okay.
not his sister. She's just
Okay. I thought it was.
she's just a friend. And oh,
Okay.
well, not even a friend. She's a colleague. I don't know if they had a relationship before, or they. It seems like they might have had a relationship before. It's unclear. Um, but she seems to be much happier with Tim, which kind of sucks for Tim that he gets so jealous of Cassian being with her. I think she really does love him, and he betrayed her basically because he was jealous. Um, anyway, he's a little more than a little insecure. Um, and it led to his death. Um,
Unfortunate for him.
yeah. Yeah. So this is him asking her to get their contact.
Mhm.
So I didn't really understand. So like, these look like jungle kids. Like I didn't understand it when I first saw it. But then when in a rewatch, or at least looking at the screenshots, you can see that they're basically wearing their parents' clothes. Like if these were like indigenous kids, they wouldn't have like knit. You see how these are like knit clothing that you would
Yeah.
require like industrial clothes manufacturing. So it's obvious that these are like hand me down clothing from their parents that they grew into. Some of them grew into. Some of them is just like it's just over. They're just larger than they should be.
They may
Um,
not be the
but
parents. Also, they may be from. They may be scavenged from
yeah, from
the
and
kids. Like,
all the adults that died. Yeah, from basically all the adults that died on the planet.
right.
But it also seems that they've been sorry, they've been alone for a very long time because this planet is basically poison, right? It's poison to adults. Um, so they have also started to like develop their own culture. Like this preparation that they're doing. I assume that they didn't learn this from their parents.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, very Lord of the Flies.
Yeah,
Another,
a little
another,
bit. Like
another. Yeah.
I wanted to say Lord of the Flies at the beginning, but it's not quite Lord of the Flies. It's more Peter Pan. I feel like they're more cooperative than like they're not at
That's
each
true.
other. They're
Lord
not
of
at
the
each
Flies is kind of
other's.
like more.
Yeah, they're not at each other's throats.
Yeah.
So I forget what I forget what the name of the not the country, the planet, that he came from, that they kept talking about.
That's the one. That's the cyberpunk planet,
No,
right?
no. The planet that Cassian came from
Oh,
with all the
uh,
kids.
was it
Begins with a
started with a
K.
K? Let's see. Started with a K.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
uh,
Casa, maybe.
no,
No, no.
it's
Casa is what is his name. His
that's his nickname. Yeah.
his nickname. Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, he knows a bunch of people, including this guy who he obviously owes some money. So
Starts with a K. I remember that, but it's not as just looking it up right now. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, she's transmitting here.
yeah.
Is
She's
she?
transmitting. She's transmitting to her contact, Luthen Real, who was played by Stellan Skarsgård, who you may or may not remember from Thor, the Thor movies.
Yeah.
He plays Sylvik. Um,
Yep.
so I mean, he's been in other things as well, but that's probably the most high profile thing that he's been in. Like, it's seen by more people, especially genre people that watch genre stuff.
He was also
Um,
in the Pirates movie as well.
yeah,
So
which
he's been at
which
Disney
one?
for a lot of time. So he was in the Pirates franchise. So for those of you that don't know,
Here it is. It's Canary.
right.
Canary, human man wanted for questioning. Canary is where it was, where he was.
Hmm.
Um, okay. Yeah. So he has, you see there's all these characters like this guy.
Yep. Another guy that he's like friendly with, kind of
Yeah.
friendly with, but he's like kind of burned bridges now because he's been like,
Yeah.
oh, it's kind of like this is the last time,
Yeah. It's like
and then basically he'll forgive him later on. Type
even
of thing.
even um even this is Zorbo. Um
Yeah.
sorry, that's not Zorbo. Zorbo's the his boss. Um
Mhm.
uh Even Brasso, who's like a really good friend to him, the last thing he says, even though he comes up with more of a alibi for him, he's like, "I'm not giving you any more money." So
Yeah.
it's like, so yeah, he stretched a lot of his friends. So this is Pelga.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yep. Pelga. Yep.
yeah. Um, More scenes from the kids, and that was the end. That was the end of the episode. So like, yeah, it would have been weird if that's all we got this week, because doesn't really give you much
Yeah.
of anything. It's a bunch of setup. I guess you kind of get the sense of like all the people that he knows in town, but it's not. It's kind of unsatisfying, and then you would have had to wait a week. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if I think they probably learned a few lessons from Boba Fett, or maybe it's just because of scheduling that they just kind of like decided, oh, we're just gonna drop 3 episodes. Um, uh, Maybe probably a lot to do with scheduling, but at the same time, I think that they probably looked at the numbers for Boba Fett and they're like, oh yeah, the first 2 episodes weren't that good,
yeah,
and also, oh, in Obi-Wan, same idea. The first 2 episodes weren't that compelling. Maybe we need to drop it when it's like gets really interesting and then leave a cliffhanger. I don't
maybe.
remember when in Obi-Wan they had the Darth Vader reveal.
I think it was the
That was
third.
the
I think it was
second one.
third.
Yeah,
I think it's
that's what I'm
third
saying.
episode. It's third episode. Yeah.
If you watch the first 3 episodes, you would see that, oh, that's a setup, and the first two would be a setup, and then the third one, oh my gosh, then I want to see more because Darth Vader
Yeah,
shows up.
He
So
showed up sooner than everyone expected, and there was a fight sooner than everyone expected because I guess they were waiting for that fight at the end. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. You can see the environmental degradation. They just kept mining and mining and mining until they created a environmental catastrophe that killed all the people, I assume. Um, so yeah, or all the adults anyway.
yeah.
So this guy is interesting. Like, it's an interesting little flourish that was added to the script here. Like, he's obviously he's signaling the beginning of the day, but he takes his job very seriously, almost like a priest. But he's also, it looks like he's a worker as well.
Right.
It was interesting. It was an interesting
Yeah.
touch. It adds specificity to the world, not just the like not just the universe, but the specifically like this world and the culture of this world. It makes it seem more real, even though it's a weird little thing. It makes it seem more lived in specific and sorry, lived in idiosyncratic.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So let me see what we have here. Yeah. So yeah, this is where he follows her, like and sees that
Received the message from from those people
yeah
from those officers there. Now that
yeah
again, that is another touch that we have not seen this
we haven't seen it
where
before. What we usually do,
yeah.
especially so what we usually have is like the person in the scene just reads what's showing up in Arabic. So it's in Arabic, and the person just says what's there, but there's no one there, right? There's no one there for him to say it to. So they have to sort of add this touch and kind of have to translate the Arabic letters into English.
Hmm.
So here again, Canary male without delay.
Right.
So
Right.
I think every other time in this episode where someone is reading something off of a screen, there's someone else to actually in the room for them to actually just say what's on the screen.
Right.
So yeah,
I found that move that he made was very interesting in that, he just said, send it out there, just send it out there, and then it just kind of get picked up like that.
yeah,
And yeah, I thought that would kind of backfire against him, but it's like usually those type of things when you spread them all out, no one responds to those type of things. It's like a needle in a haystack, and then
yeah. It's like an
but yeah,
all points bulletin that like a police
yeah,
department would do for like tips for a crime, and you get a lot of crazy things, people calling in with like weird tips because they want attention. So yeah,
right,
and they almost do dismiss it. Because when they look
right,
up when they look up Cassian, they they see his alias, which is part of this conversation that he's having here with his mother. At this point in the episodes, we don't actually know that she's not his biological mother. We find that out
right,
later
later
on.
on, yeah,
So because we also don't know that all the parents are gone either. It looked like the parents weren't there, like their adults weren't there, and the kids were just like operating on their own. In the first episode and maybe even the second episode, and then once the separatist ship crashes and they actually get to that site in the flashback and you see them like dying, you kind of start to put the pieces together that the atmosphere is poisoned. And
hmm,
also when she and her husband get on the ship, they're wearing respirators so they can breathe in the
right,
atmosphere as well.
right,
So yeah, the Proxima Milana HQ security. So I think that but who knows who did hell.
mm.
Fest. That's yeah. So when they look
Festus,
when
yeah,
they look up they look him up, they see that he's from Fest.
hmm,
So that's why they think that it's the um the tip is a lie. So yeah,
right,
that's interesting. The conversation that we have here, I appreciate it, and like I said, I don't think I think I would have been annoyed if they had dropped these one at a time, but having them all at the same time, I do appreciate the pacing here. You kind of
hmm,
understand more as it's going on, um,
right,
as it's going on. So yeah, this is where he sees them together and he gets jealous and he does something stupid. First he gets drunk. First he gets drunk and then he does something stupid. Um, so
yeah. And also, just to make a note is that they put that kind of all points bulletin on another planet. It's not like they're on the same planet. It's
No, no,
like
no. So
like
I think the bulletin is definitely is so it's not like all points bulletin. They're not the Empire. It's this
right,
planet is inside the same system, the same solar system as this planet. So
right.
it's all under their jurisdiction. So
Hmm.
the bulletin was out to all the planets in the system that they have jurisdiction to. So like they I think this is not something that they even want the Empire to know
Hmm.
because the Empire would think that they're incompetent and they can't take care of the stuff that they're supposed to be taking care of.
Right.
So I guess she comes in and basically verifies his face, although that seems to be a much younger picture of him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but so yeah. Um, let's see what else happens in this episode. Uh, yeah, I guess
She
Brasso.
she goes she goes to his place.
Yeah, because she likes him. She
Yeah.
and he yeah and he could have went and recanted his statement, but at this point it doesn't matter because they got verification. Like she came and she probably verified his face.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, this guy just seems like again another mob, and he thinks that he is a commando. Like he thinks that he's a commando as opposed to like corporate security. Um, yeah, he's definitely itching to do something. It's like this fomenting. I don't like the fomenting. Like,
Yeah.
okay, dude. Like dial it
But
down,
also, I think
dial it
that he
down.
wants to be, yeah, he wants to be a number two or maybe a number one in the future, you know.
Yeah,
So it's definitely there. Maybe we'll find out that he's too weak. The other guy's too weak, and then
he
see you
did have
later.
he did have to grab him and move him because he was shell
There you go.
shocked. Like he
Exactly.
saw like he's disobeying orders, and he got a bunch of people, if not killed, maimed. Like he's terrible at his job. Like he
Yeah.
again he's like a mall cop who thinks that he is a trained person, or who thinks that his job is important. And
Yeah.
it is not. So or not nearly as important as he thinks it is. Um, so yeah, this is the separatist ship in the crash site,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I wonder if this so like he reacts really poorly to her dying, and I wonder if just because she's the leader, because she's the oldest, or because that was his older sister that died, and then the younger sister,
Mm.
because he left the younger sister back at the camp because she was young.
Right.
Like only the older kids went on this excursion, and then he was
Yeah.
taken.
I was surprised about the separatist guy. He came up and shot her, and then everybody was shooting those
Those darts, the poison darts, yeah.
those the poison darts. He had like about 10 of them in his body. I was like, isn't that that's a little bit too excessive there?
I don't know. They're small kids. Who knows
That's
the
true.
how poisonous the darts are, and you don't want to make any take any risks. So
And then we saw that Luthen.
I think the poison will probably would mostly just knock the person out, but like they reacted to him killing her, so I think
It's true.
he's probably dead, if not dead from the atmosphere. So
We saw
um,
that Luthen was heading down to the planet and basically trying to
right.
find
Yeah, so
the
he heads
device.
down to the
So he's
planet.
the mysterious buyer,
Yeah.
that she was talking about.
So you can see his skin um change color. Like again, I didn't necessarily understand this immediately either.
Yeah.
Until later on when we saw them with the respirators and them saying, the planet is what you call it. So yeah,
Hmm.
I just assumed this was like a yellow skin alien as opposed to a human who was poisoned by the atmosphere. Um when I first saw it. But yeah, he shoots her, and then they attack him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just mad. um, we see aliens here or there, but like they're not the main.
Yeah.
They're like definitely part of this world. So you know that you're in Star Wars, but we don't have any characters really. Well, that's not true. The very big guy, you know,
Yep.
when the
The really tall guy.
yeah, the really
to
tall
invade
guy,
him.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he wasn't even he was paid by the other guy just to stand there.
Pretty
So,
much.
yeah. Um, I miss part of. I think I walked out of the room when this conversation happened. What was this conversation with this old dude on this transport? What was he talking about?
I have absolutely no idea. Because I was watching through it and I was like, I think he's more like talking about the planet and like how it is,
How it's
how
been.
it was, and how
Yeah.
it's been, like you should avoid scams and stuff. And then he's just, Luthen just sits there and like, okay, sure, whatever. Okay, sure.
Okay, so he's basically
Like,
talking about how the corporation destroyed the planet and how it's better.
sure, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
That was end of episode 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the end of episode 2.
Kind of like the setup of them meeting together, basically.
Right.
The shot, yeah.
So yeah, this is Brasso again. I forget what this exchange was about. At the beginning of the episode.
He was about. I think he was about to say that he's gonna leave. I think.
Yeah, he definitely has to get out of town. That's why he wants to. That's why he wants to make this.
Oh, and also take care of his mom.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
This is why he wants to make this deal with Luthen.
Right.
Because he needs money. So this is the first time we actually see that it's not really his mom. Like it's
Right.
his adoptive mom. So they're inside the ship, so that I guess they have the respirators off here, because they're using the atmosphere of the ship. Let me see if there is an actual, and you can also see B. I think it's B2. Yeah, B2 emo. What he used to look like brand new and actually working. That's the transition there. Old B2 and then him brand new.
More toys for more droids.
Oh yeah, it's Star Wars. You gotta create toys. Even in this adultish show. You gotta make more toys. Every show has a droid of some sort that you gotta make to you gotta make a toy for the kids, or the adults that want them.
Sure.
So yeah, so more flashbacks, and then they question Marva. Yeah. This whole conversation, I think this whole conversation with Luthen is interesting. Like I think this is the only clip that they actually released before the show. So I saw this weeks ago. Well, parts of it. I think they cut it a bit. They cut it a little bit because he also starts to like teach him things like, don't carry things that you don't control. Make your exit when you enter with the bombs. That wasn't in the clip that was released, because I think they wanted to show, they wanted the fact that he had explosions to be a surprise in the episode. So this is when she finds out that he betrayed her, or betrayed Cassian.
Yeah.
I think she still cares for him, but she's very disappointed. Very disappointed.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, they have a
This exchange
conversation.
reminded me. This exchange reminded me of the Morpheus Neo exchange. It's kind of like, oh
Yeah,
man,
it's like
you have
it's
no
it's
idea where you're
definitely
going, getting into. You know, take the red pill or the blue pill. Come
he's
with me or
definitely
not
trying
come
to
with me.
he's definitely trying to recruit him. Like you
Yeah,
said,
exactly.
he's happy to take the box, but what he really
Yeah,
wants is him because
right,
he think he's really good at what he does.
right.
Um, I think at this point there isn't really even a rebellion. They're just people that are being defiant, like
Right, exactly.
in individual parts of of the galaxy. Um,
Hmm. Right, and even remember in Rogue One, I mean, they're all disparate factions of people.
mhm,
It wasn't until they, that space battle in Rogue One that they kind of sort of came together. All these
mhm,
factions and stuff, and they
yeah,
were fighting with each other and stuff like that, and they weren't really organized in any
yeah,
way. So,
yeah,
so yeah, this is definitely just the beginning of what you would see later on.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah. But even 5 years progression is like that's pretty quick in order to get things organized.
Well, I think that people have been like, if you've seen Star Wars Rebels, people on individual planets have been upset with the Empire for a while. Like they this is
Right,
5 years before this, but like, I think even I think Obi-Wan ends like 8 years before this. So
right.
the Empire is around for like over a decade or so, or a few decades. Like a because
Yeah, but Luke was
Luke is like
basically so
19,
like
right?
like
Luke is
about,
like
yeah,
19, right?
so about 20 years. Yeah.
So about 20 years. So yeah, so yeah, the people have been fed up for a while. So their individual cells were organized or organized enough for them to come together as a rebellion. Um, yeah, this is when he dies. Again, these people are not real soldiers. I mean, the stormtroopers are awful as well, but like this guy is obviously like trigger
Just
happy.
recklessly just like
Rec,
shoot him like for
yeah,
no reason whatsoever.
yeah.
And then the other
It's
guy
like this
was like,
guy is
"You
running
got, you're
towards
so
him
reckless." Yeah,
unarmed. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
And then, he basically just say, "Give me your rifle and get out of my sight. Go back
yeah,
to the ship."
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He gets an end. He gets an end as well. Like,
Oh yeah, he
yeah,
gets
when
it
he
really.
goes to
Yeah.
get the ship, and and the people of the town start to rally together, and like, yeah, you guys are not getting off this planet, or you're not getting off this planet in one piece anyway.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah,
Now that part where he was held at laser point right there. I mean I was and then Luthen was saying kill him, and to me, that's gonna be hope that's may have a lot of ramifications as to like that Luthen was like saying kill him, but then he didn't kill him. He just tied him up.
yeah, he's going to be a problem. This guy is definitely going to be a
Right.
problem. Cyril is definitely being a problem later on. He's one of the main characters
Okay.
in this show. So yes, he should have killed him.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if Cassian was a little hesitant because he recently killed someone, and it wasn't on purpose. He didn't mean to. Well, he definitely mean to kill the second person to cover his tracks, but like he didn't.
Right.
He is less used to killing right now.
Hmm. Right.
To yes, less used to killing for I don't know greater good or great or to get away. But
Hmm.
he will get more used to it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um, so yeah. So yeah, this this is also pretty good. I think this was actually Cassian's idea. Like he said,
Yep.
he asked him if he had any more charges, and
Hmm.
yeah, and they basically went in the opposite direction. This is like the speeder bike that Boba Fett was riding.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Um,
also, the thing was that because they also sprung another trap because of the ship. So the guy that shot Tim
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
went on the ship, and then
We,
boom, they exploded, and he was like, "Oh, they're everywhere."
yeah,
That was very Art of the War. I was like, that's really well done right there.
yeah,
That's like just. oh, we're surrounded and stuff like that. Of course, they're incompetent. We all know that, but at the same time, that's still very clever. It's like you're kind of setting these things up to kind of
Yeah.
make them
I
feel
mean,
as
and
though
it
they're
was uncoordinated. It's not like Cassian or Luthen did that. It's
yeah
just the people they don't like the corporos. They don't like the corporos to be there. They don't like the corporate people to be there. And
right
they have their own culture and they have their own way of doing things. In this city, or so this planet is like a free trade zone, even though it's sort of in the same system. They don't like the corporate rule that is and that comes and oppresses them. This scene was also very beautiful. Like driving across these like salt flats. It looks like um, was also very cool. Um, yeah, he's
he
shell
just stands
shocked.
there.
He's. It looks like he's yeah, he's shell shocked.
Yeah, he
It's
just stands there. It's like
yeah.
yeah
Um, so yeah, and then that's what we see, that this ship that he was in later, or sorry, the ship that he was in later on is the ship that he was rescued in.
hmm right.
So
So this,
yeah,
this is a this is the melding of the A and B story at the
yeah,
end there.
yeah, exactly. He's escaping very similarly. He's escaping in a very similar way
Yeah,
at the end of both of these stories. So yeah,
yeah,
it was a good bunch of episodes.
definitely.
This is basically the end here. Um, any other, I guess, thoughts about this before we wrap up? I
Yeah,
I know we jumped around a lot, but like I said, I didn't want to spend 3 hours talking or longer talking about these
right.
episodes. We got
Yeah,
we
just
the conversation happened to be a little bit less than the episodes themselves, which is good. if
yeah,
anyone,
just one more thing is that I
hmm
wonder if we're going to get a big space battle. I think that you know
I don't know.
it's been
I don't know.
lacking in
I feel like
the
a
Disney
lot of
Plus
things are
shows.
going to happen to terrestrially for a while before we get a space battle, because they don't have a fleet yet, really, right? Like
Right,
there is no rebel alliance yet. They don't have a fleet yet.
right,
They might have one or two ships. Like this guy has a ship, Luthen has a ship, but he doesn't have. He's not. I don't. Depending on how rich he is, he probably might have one or two ships, but he doesn't have a fleet. So you're not going to see a space battle probably until like another season or so. So yeah, I think we'll probably we'll see something like that, but not anytime soon. We have to see. The name of the show is Andor, so we're going to see the progression of him becoming a spy. I guess you're going to probably see him on missions, doing things, and
right.
then yeah, espionage things. So
Okay.
yeah, which may or may not be uh, what people want to see, but I think that's kind of what the show is set up to do, given what Andor was in the movie. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I don't even remember if there were any space battles in that movie.
Oh, there was. I mean, Rogue One. Oh, yeah, that was a huge one. That's why I was mentioning it because, it was a Scarif, the water plane. They had the when they stole the Death Star plans. They had the they were in the planet and they had a big shield and then there
Mm.
was a huge space battle there.
Yeah, it's
And
been a
we
while since I've
actually
seen the
did
movie.
see, yeah, one
Yeah.
of the Easter eggs is that we actually saw the ship from Rebels in one of the shots.
Hmm.
You can clearly see it. So, yeah, it did that space battle was really really well done. I it's probably my favorite one
Hmm.
out of all the movies so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I
Uh,
was asking. But
yeah. I mean, like I said, I think at some point, but not. They he's still reluctant. The only reason he went with Luthen is because he was going to get killed. So like there's going to be a whole lot of stuff that I think they had to develop with his character before there's going to be space battles, unless like Luthen has to be in a space battle. If the focus is going to be on Andor, I think it'll be a while before we see something like that in the show.
okay.
But yeah. Anyway, that is what we think, but we want to hear what you guys think. So, did we miss anything? What did you guys think? Did you like the episodes? Comment down below. like, share, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow, but also next week for the next episode of Andor. All right, guys. Bye.